Hudson Poole with an easy win.
And Cody Lawrence with the win. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally here. It's Sunday night, and the 12th and final round of ZRL's 5th season is upon us. I'm your host, Buffalo Trace. Tonight, Division 1 will officially come to a close here at COTA. We'll not only crown the WDC, but we'll witness the conclusion of what's become an epic constructors battle that has Red Bull desperately clinging to a 1-point lead thanks to a late Ferrari charge. 20 turns here at COTA, 11 left, 8 to the right. A fantastic track for overtaking. We've seen a ton of it in Divisions 2, 3, and 4. 2 DRS zones before turns 1 and 2 provide a tremendous opportunity for drivers to make those passes. As always, I'm joined by the one and only John Ranger. John, we've now come to the end for Season 5, man. A lot of battles going to conclude tonight. What are we watching for?
Yeah, we're expecting an epic showdown tonight. Let's not forget to mention that it's going to be a short quality followed by sprint race and then the full 50% race. So we've got additional points on the board for the drivers out there. The main battle, you've just mentioned it in regards to the constructors, right? Ferrari is just a single point ahead due to last week's mishap, I will say, situation that happened in Suzuka, so 1 point ahead of Red Bull. Aston Martin is quite comfortably in the middle in the P3 in the constructors. Could maybe have a surprise there. We will see about that. Mercedes and Alpine has been a battle to watch all the season long, and that's going to be another one to watch out for tonight. The main topic of tonight, however, Hudson Poole, Jeffrey Lawler, and the past 3 races, Hudson Poole has only gathered 21 points. Jeffrey Lawler's got 2 wins in those last 3 races. So tonight, USA, we've got 8 points on the sprint race win. We got 35 points for the race win plus the fastest lap, so that's a total of 36. Hudson and Jeffrey are going to be battling it out throughout there, and there are multiple scenarios that keeps Jeffrey alive throughout this battle. So Hudson could clinch the Drivers' Championship in different scenarios. I'll give you the very first one during the sprint race. If Hudson Poole gets the win and Jeffrey does no points whatsoever, that will leave him out of contention once and for all. So Hudson Poole's got 262 points. Jeffrey Lawler's at 233. You can see it on your screen. You can see the other battles going on. But all throughout tonight, I'll keep you updated and calculated on the battle with those 2 drivers. Those are the guys we're going to be watching out for tonight.
Yeah, we'll be able to pull the standings up kind of throughout the race as we're watching that. There'll be a number of different scenarios on foot. Thank you for reminding me of the sprint race as well. There'll be additional points awarded as well for the sprint, right? So that's certainly going to, have an impact on the scoring and stuff, different than kind of a regular race weekend. So we're on Maxime Beaulieu, and I believe he's one of the first cars out on a heater. Just set a purple Sector 1 coming up on a Red Bull, but it is invalidated in the S's. Unfortunate for Maxime. So we'll try to find someone else who is on a heater right now. Peter Giordano on an outlap. Let's hop in with the challenger, the Aston Martin driver himself, Jeffrey Lawler, a.k.a. Dago. He's on a heater himself as he comes into the second DRS zone, rather. The long backstretch between turns 11 and 12. He's got his work cut out for him today.
Yeah, he's got to be more than perfect if he wants to keep into contention. There's still a gap between him and Hudson in regard to points, but if there's somebody that could close that gap, and that's shown us that he's able to close that gap, it's Dago in the last couple races. Hudson's had a couple mishaps, a couple incidents that's just been really dragging him down a little bit. He could have clinched the win maybe even 2 races ago. That's still not happened, and that's given us a season finale worth watching.
Yeah, it really has. It's just been full of ups and downs. There was a time, as Cody Lawrence says, the first time at 132.9. That's really quick for a track that's not really rubbered in yet. I know he's been putting a lot of track time in. We'll watch Dago go across the line here into turn 20. Really slick there. Got to keep the car on track. He's on the outside. He puts in a 133.2. I think there's probably more in there for Jeff.
Yeah, most definitely. He was probably just getting that first lap in and trying to make it work as much as possible. And the track evolution here is rather important. I'm also going to look for information in regards to weather updates as much as for the quali than for the sprint and the actual race. So I'll get that in just a minute.
Yeah, John, we saw a ton of rain so far this
Yeah.
weekend. I know D4 had it in quali. I know D2 had a little bit of rain. I think D3 had it in quali, or maybe the sprint as well. And I know D2 had a mixed conditions race. So, I didn't think rain was too common here in COTA, but in ZRL, it most definitely is. Looks like there's a caution in Sector 1 by the S's. Might be Seb or Flosi just getting out of the way there, actually. Left teammates. Luke Locklear sets provisional pole with a 132.7. Now remember, that's provisional pole in the sprint race, so still a lot of work to go. Eric Carvalho, really respectable 133.2, is just beaten by Cal, the reserve extraordinaire in P3.
Yeah, Cal mentioned it to us earlier yesterday night during the Division 3 race. He absolutely wanted to be a top 5 driver, or even possibly top 3 driver in Division 1 for next season, and he's out there to prove it.
Yeah, I think it can be. I mean, I think he's the only driver ever in ZRL history who's won a race in D3, D2, and D1, and I believe it happened all on the same weekend.
Yeah, that's rather incredible that he's able to do that, and he's a guy that puts the time to practice, and he really wants that win. And when you're hungry and you really motivate yourself for it, things could happen. So good for him for doing that.
Yeah, a lot of storylines to watch today. One, we were just on with Marc-Olivier Bastien, who just set a P7 time of 1:33.5. Him and Chase Wilson have been godsends for the D1 team. Of course, we lost Jordan Angus and ZRL legend Jack Pemberton. These guys have come in and just scored huge chunks of points for the team, so they've been great for us in combined constructors. It's been fun to see them both fight at the top. Another storyline I'm watching too, ZRL's Jason Pelter, currently P9 in quali, but I think that Jason's already locked down or is very close to locking down P3 in the Drivers' Championship, which I think is going to be his highest position ever.
Yeah, and he's got 2 podiums in a row and sitting in P3, and he's been working so hard throughout the entire season to get that. And he's got it two in a row. It's suddenly we used to talk about it as the P word. We didn't want to tell Jason the podium word, but now he's starting to get used to it. So maybe he could make it 3 in a row tonight. We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see. That would be something. Yeah, he's like an old hat at it now. He's got it. We're on with Cody Lawrence. I know for a fact Cody has been putting in some work at this track. And I think the Ferrari team is going to do really hot. It's a tough call, John, because as Cody actually bails out of that lap and pulls back into the pits, still sitting P2 with a 132.9. I like the work that I've seen Ferrari put in so far this week, but I know that, Hudson is always a threat to win whatever race at ZRL, and I think this is perhaps Duncan's best track. So you're going to have, a Red Bull team that's largely been carried by Hudson. I mean, Duncan scored a huge chunk of points, don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to be fighting towards the front today, especially if it's kind of mixed conditions, because he just knows the strategy around here as well. Dude, it's really a toss-up. I have no idea who's going to come out on top here in Constructors.
Yeah, so a couple things in regards to weather. I'm being told full dry for quali, for the sprint race, and for our feature race following after. Unless there's an update, it should be completely dry in that regards. I'm noticing Joachim Torres and the Williams, I don't know if he lost it or if he bailed out in pits, but he seems to have retired or disconnected from the lobby, one or the other. So that'll be a driver less. And Hudson Poole just starting now his out lap. He's just coming out of the... Is it just coming out of the pits? Or just... Yeah, so he's actually just going... He's about to start his fast lap in just a minute, actually.
Yeah, it looks like it. Chase Wilson, the Alfa Romeo, puts it one ahead of his teammate Marc-Olivier Bastien. He's currently in P7. Hudson Poole, last one to go out on his out lap, I believe. And I guess he's waiting for track evolution. Let's ride along with Hudson here. Or is he just starting his out? No, this is his heater right now. He'll come into turn 1, the first DRS zone, hard braking zone right by the black marshal box. You can cut that curb a little bit. I'm surprised he didn't as well. Downhill acceleration zone where we see a lot of guys spin too. Not so much in D1, but very tricky here. Let's see how it goes to the S's. Cut these two curbs on the right and the left. He floors it in 7th gear through all of them. You see a lot of guys downshift through 6 going into that one turn. Sharp left-hander here followed by a right. You can lose a lot of speed here if you're not careful, but he stays in the high gear in 5 and goes into the DRS detection zone down the hill to turn 11. And between turn 11 and turn 12, I think we're going to see the most action here as far as overtaking by far. Toe perfectly executed by Duncan McCamick. I think that's probably exactly what they meant to do. That was pretty spot on. Hard braking zone here around the 100 or the 50 meter board. Cuts that curb really nicely. He invalidated. He cut it a little too much. And he just wasted that perfect toe, John. That was really well executed.
Yeah, they worked really well together doing that. I remember back in Brazil in qualifying, Duncan and Hudson Poole tried to do a similar strategy, and that didn't work out so far for them. Jeffrey Lawler at 132.6, that puts him in provisional pole. So that's a double-edged sword for Hudson Poole, who's invalidated his lap. He's probably got time for one, maybe a second lap. We'll see about that. So he's got to be perfect on his next lap.
Yeah, looks like Duncan's in. They're going to try to set up the toe for lap 2. Hudson will come around and try to get the other lap. Now remember, if something like this happens and Hudson finds himself in the back of the pack and Jeffrey Lawler comes out with the win, he will be ZRL Season 5 D1 champ. A lot of racing still to go. See, Hudson did cut that corner on turn 1 a little bit better that time. He accelerates down the hill into the S's. John, I think this is... You were telling me how much you liked Suzuka last week, but I really like this course, and this sector specifically reminds me of Suzuka, but it's probably one of my favorite sectors on the calendar.
Yeah, it's a great track. I mean, United States Circuit of the Americas is a great track, and that Sector 1 is rather tricky to really nail down and not lose a lot of time, because the second you get a little bit off on your line, you lose enormous amount of time. So
not only that, he just invalidated.
Exactly, and well, so these drivers are working really hard to get things rolling for these guys. So a lot of practice. We saw drivers throughout the entire week putting enormous amounts of practice, try to get really used to it. And you were mentioning earlier Duncan, it being his better track. I remember racing Duncan on this track. I think I did it once before, and let me tell you, he is really fast on this track.
Yes,
most definitely.
And a couple of shout-outs here, too. Reserve extraordinaire Gunther Flosy, currently in P19. He's a typical D4 driver, and he's kind of nutted up here and is reserving in D1 for the Haas team. Can't leave the boys hanging. And he's put in a nice 135.6. So, you know, it'll be hard to compete with. These are the fastest drivers in ZRL, but kudos to him for getting out there and trying to score points. Cody Lawrence now, provisional pole for the sprint with a 132.6. He's about 200ths ahead of Jeffrey Lawler, who himself is only separated Luke Locklear by 0.004 of a second.
Yeah, I feel like I'm repeating myself literally every week, but when you see that top 3 being separated by 300ths of a second on this track, finding that amount of time is literally just it's by a hair, these guys, and we're gonna expect these times to dwindle down. I think there's a little bit of a separation between the top 5 for now, but it's gonna get real tight near the end of the qualifying.
It is. Yeah, we're on with AJ Jackson, who last time we were in the booth together, John, AJ put in a spectacular qualifying performance in Singapore. Wasn't able to stay up there actually through the race, although he may have finished with the top 10 actually, if I recall correctly. But he's a guy that's been coming up, giving consistent quality performances, and if he can keep his nose clean here, he has the pace. AJ Jackson has the pace to compete with these guys. I'm just kind of waiting for it to all come together.
Yeah, and just a quick update there. There's just a little under 4 minutes left to qualify, and there's one driver who's not put on a lap so far. That's Hudson Poole in P20 so far. So his next lap, he's got to decide, he's got to figure out if he's going to do one of two things. Either play it safe and not invalidate his lap, get himself up there, or go balls to the wall, and we'll figure out if he could get P1 from there, because if there's a guy that could snatch P1 at the last moments, that's Hudson Poole.
Yeah, if there's a guy that can execute a last to first, absolutely, it's still him. But is this the race to try that out? I mean, it'd be really tough. So, yeah, everyone's lined up in the pits now. Track with the lap distance as Coda. You can really only get 3 good soft tire runs in here, right? So everyone's going to start to trickle out, try to maximize the track evolution here. I think the 2 that we see out now looks like a Ferrari and a Mercedes. No, sorry, that's an Alfa Romeo rather of Chase Wilson and a Mercedes. So they will be the first 2 drivers to set their final heater here at COTA. It's Chase followed by Eric Carvalho. And Era just coming off a race ban, actually. He was unable to race with us in Suzuka due to penalty points. So let's hop in with those. I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my keybinds here. Let's hop back on with Era and pull the standings up. Eric Carvalho is currently in P5, right? And I'm correct, John, right? He did have a race ban in Suzuka?
Yeah. Most definitely, he did have a race ban. Maxime Beaulieu was out on his own for that. And unfortunately, he had a great race, but unfortunately, penalties made him drop down quite significantly on the grid. So the Mercedes drivers at the end of the season, we've spoken a lot about how these guys are really good at working together, and they have very similar pace, right? And unfortunately, the last 2 races, I think, weren't so hot for them, and especially like Suzuka, that kind of hurt them, and that's one of the reasons why they're looking, rather than fighting Alpine, instead of looking to fight Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship for P3, so they're going to try to consolidate P4 on their end.
Exactly. I mean, you look at he's in the standings now, right? He's only 6 points rather behind Peter without that race, right? He could be competing with Jason Pelter for P3 had that race ban not happened, right? So let's take a look at the constructors. Yeah, I mean, you're actually absolutely right. I mean, those points could have been crucial into at least trying to fight with Aston Martin, but now they're fighting to stay in P4 with Alpine hot on their back. And it's been a little while since we've seen a masterclass from Alpine and Major Castleman, but I wonder if their teamwork can shine today. And first half of the season, they were a really unstoppable duo.
Yeah, a little bit of a hiccup throughout the season, and it kind of shows how Division 1, when you do have a little bit of a trip up like that, it could really affect the championship standings or the driver standings as well. I mean, we're seeing the times. These guys are real talently. They're very close together, so it shows in the standings and the constructors and the drivers, and this is why Division 1 is what it is.
Everybody trickled out for their last laps now. We're on with Eric Carvalho. He'll be the last one to submit here. Stops on track. Let him go through. I don't know if he invalidated or what. Doesn't look like he's out of fuel or anything. Or maybe he's waiting to set up a tow for Maxime. But his lap is gone. He won't have enough time to get back around. So the first one to set their last lap is going to be the Alfa Romeo of Chase Wilson. And he's going into that long, sweeping right-hander right now. And let's hop. I love in the TV pod here because you can just see them flat out here, and a lot of that is setup dependent.
Yeah.
Flat out here, cut as much of this curb as you can. Just engine braking, this tricky quarter, and this is tricky with the sun, right? And with the realistic time, that's where the sun is. Chase Wilson improves by about 1.5 tenths. He's currently P8 right now. Eric Perez also done for the session. He'll be P13 at best with a 133.5. I think that's an Aston coming around the corner. No, Aaron Altmaier will bail, and he will stay P10 at best.
Yeah, on that straight line, last night I did a Division 2 race in virtual reality, let me tell you, and that sun is definitely very glaring indeed.
Yeah, there's no way to switch it. I remember doing some practices, and we set it up, and like, wait a second, did we do this right? Yep, it's like that, and that's what they want for realistic. We're on with Maxime Beaulieu. Can he improve from P9? He puts together a 132.8. He does. He's currently P5.
Hudson Poole's in turn 18 right now. He's just about to cross the line.
This is his first and only heater for Hudson Poole. He's got a lot of competition up front. Let's see what he comes in with. A 132.8. That's P7. That's a great lap, but that's probably not where he wanted to be. Let's hop in with Jeffrey Lawler, see where he's at. He's improved by about 200ths himself. There's a Ferrari spinning in front of him, and that probably distracted him. Jeffrey Lawler loses.
Giordano. Wow.
Peter spins out, and that had to have had an impact. And Jeffrey Lawler gets disqualified for the session for going the wrong way.
Well, the good news is the session's over, so I won't have any terrible incidents, as we're seeing quite a glitch between McLaren and Alpha was that a Haas, I believe, or an AlphaTauri? Anyways, the cars were literally like, driving on top of each other at a moment there. So yeah, Peter Giordano. We're talking about Ferrari. So there's a Ferrari battle against Red Bull for the constructors, and then it is Jeffrey Lawler against Hudson Poole. Jeffrey gets disqualified. Yeah, so if he getting disqualified, he will be starting P20.
So I don't know what's going to go on here, and I want to keep an eye on the paddock and the stewards, because I wonder if the admins are going to have to make some sort of decision here. Obviously,
what happened there?
Jeffrey Lawler turns a corner, he sees a spinning Ferrari in front of him, spins himself, and then in an effort to turn around, which is what we can assume, he gets disqualified from the session. He was currently sitting P3, and this is monumental for the championship battle. I mean, this would almost all but eliminate him, save something crazy happening in the sprint and the race. So I wonder, let's keep an eye on the paddock, John, and see if we see anything about maybe this situation being adjusted. But if not, extremely tough break for Daigo.
Yeah. It kind of missed. It didn't catch my eye on the spin there, so I'm trying to see what's going on and what happened to Jeffrey specifically. A lot of drivers are talking about potentially some people in the Discord server wanting to restart the race, but I think it will be going on as is.
Yeah, let's see. We will stand by. We will stand by and kind of watch. We're kind of browsing there. You could say that, you could make the case that Jeffrey was being silly trying to drive into the pits in that situation. Almost better to just, I don't know, retire on track with that. But then look, you run the risk of impeding other people's laps, right? And I mean, you don't want to put your risk at penalties, so it's tricky.
Yeah, a lot of debate being on the main chat right now between other division drivers watching the race. So throughout all these shenanigans and things that caught our attention left and right here, let's not forget pole position is going to Luke Locklear for the sprint race. The Alpine driver is going to start from P1. There are no formation lap, and the race is going to begin right now.
No formation lap. Here we go. We're on and they're off. Luke Locklear, we're on with him on the TV pod view, and he is the king of starts. Starting on medium tires. Everyone will probably be on medium tires here, except Stelios Repas of the AlphaTauri starts on the softs. So really interesting choice from him. We'll see if he can make some things happen. Jeffrey Lawler up into P15 so far, as Eric Perez and Seb must have had an incident. As we get everything up here. No formation lap, of course. Still that glitch with the tires. We'll hop on with Cal, who really quietly in the AlphaTauri put himself back up in P3, but really, is anybody surprised? Just, reserve of the year
there was
there.
contact between 4 drivers in the back. We're seeing Jeffrey Lawler, Stelios Repas, Eric Perez, Flozy, and I think it was the Alfa Romeo of Marc-Olivier Bastien who came back on track and hit Jeffrey Lawler. I was watching him on his driver's pod, so Jeffrey Lawler's gained a lot of positions, but dropped back down to P18, and now he's far away from the pack. He's got 10 laps to make it up.
Yeah, it's a lot to make up on tires that are certainly going to die towards the end of the race for Stelios Repas. Jeffrey Lawler, of course, now in P18. Peter Giordano just makes the move on Guac. Coming in there, he's back up to P13 after that little incident. And there's an incident then with the AlphaTauri. Chase Wilson spins out, and he tumbles down to P16. So quiet up top, Luke Locklear, Cody Lawrence, Cal, Doug McCamick, followed by Maxime Beaulieu, round out your top 5. But a lot of action trickled down in the order. A lot of guys shuffling up.
As it is right now, Hudson Poole will only be making 2 points, so I'm just going to make a quick calculation if that would clinch him a driver championship, but I don't think it will be enough. I think he needs to win, and Jeffrey Lawler has to be out of championship contention, out of the points completely, in order for him to clinch the drivers championship.
Yeah, let's have the chat do some quick math here. As it is right now, Jeffrey Lawler 29 points behind Hudson Poole. Now, really, the max you can get is about 36 points in ZRL. For P1, you're awarded 35 points. We award points for everybody who registers and finishes the race. So that means 90% race completion. You will be awarded points P1 all the way down to P20. So the max that a winning driver can get is 35 plus 1 for fastest lap, 36 in the race. As Eric Perez spins out in the S's, he will bring up the rear. Luke Locklear doing a great job of holding off Cody Lawrence here. But plus the sprint points, no, I don't think it's going to be enough, John.
No, no, most definitely not. It's gonna be a really tight one, and then it kind of delays the, or makes the scenario even more improbable for Jeffrey Lawler. So in his mind, perfect scenario is he's getting a lot of points during the sprint race. Come to the actual feature race, that's where he can be ahead of Hudson Poole and make the most points to potentially get the championship off of him. But that's becoming less and less likely as the situation evolves right now.
Yeah, it is. He's up 4 spots, but still a lot to go. We're on with AJ Jackson. He only lost. Now he started P6, so he stayed steady. Actually, the top 7 drivers have stayed where they are. He was hot on the gearbox of Maxime Beaulieu just a moment ago. As 2.5 tenths was the gap, but the field's starting to spread out a little bit. Luke Locklear, aka Thermo, has done a really nice job trying to build that 1 second gap to Cody. It's a little bit less than now, but on lap 3, Cody's got to be burning some ERS to get within 1 second because he needs that DRS. Otherwise, Luke could pull away.
Yeah, and the DRS is quite powerful down the main straight, and it's also where you'll probably notice the main differences between these drivers and their setups. Low downforce setups on the main straight will gain quite an advantage to catch up to drivers in front of them, especially with the DRS activated. While drivers with higher downforce, it's really sectors 1 and sector 3 especially where you could gain the advantage on the drivers. And sector 3, throughout the division races so far this weekend, has seen some interesting wheel-to-wheel action, as well as some really nice overtaking moves from drivers. So I expect to see some interesting things happening here in Division 1.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued once it starts getting a little bumping and running, how that long right-hander, who's going to be daring enough to try to make passes around the inside or the outside while keeping the foot to the floor and that grip. Hudson Poole thinking about making a move on AJ Jackson, and he makes it stick. Let's hop on board with him. AJ Jackson tries a little bit of a switchback, a little bit of contact wheel to wheel. Back right of AJ in front left of Hudson Poole. Hudson Poole now behind AJ Jackson going into the sweeping right-hander in Sector 3. And there it was. That was the Sector 3 action you were talking about.
Yep, exactly. That kind of move, that kind of switchback overtaking there, you could really defend a move there. That corner there, you get the inside, and you end up on the outside on the next corner. So if you're on the outside, you get the inside advantage, as we've seen with Chase and how he defended his, AJ, and how he's defended his position that way.
If I'm Hudson Poole and I'm looking at these interviews, I want this move to happen quickly because AJ is going to start to as he fights with Hudson, he's going to fall probably more than a second behind Maxime Beaulieu, who's already out of DRS range of Duncan McCamick as of now. So if Hudson's going to make a charge late through the field, he needs the DRS. He needs these overtakes to happen quickly. We're already almost 50% of the way through the sprint.
Yeah, these drivers are going to notice their tires are going to start screaming at them quite soon. Even if you're on the medium tires, the end of the track it gets pretty hard to get some grip there. And I think one driver who's going to regret his tire choice is Stelios Repaz down in P17. He's maybe expected the softs to give him a little bit more of an advantage during the race, but so far that hasn't been the case.
We're on with Jason Pelter. Just made the move to P8, but he used a lot of battery to do so. Let's hop in with Aaron Altmaier, who drained his battery. So Jason Pelter actually had the battery advantage going into that altercation before turn 12. Unable to make the defense stick. He's still in P9. There's a yellow in Sector 3. What's that? A little bit of wheel-to-wheel.
Looks like Duncan, who's lost it. There was a 3-way battle up front between Maxim, AJ, and Hudson, and Maxim made an incredibly smart move overtaking AJ, and he's got P4.
Maxime in P4, AJ in P5, he's up a spot. Hudson Poole in P6, he's up a spot as well. And he's already got a 1.2 second gap to Jason Pelter in the McLaren. Goes around the outside, a little bit of a lockup in turn 1, unless that was an audio glitch, but it did go deep into turn 1. We'll see how Hudson takes these S's here. Flat out in 6. Got to change the gear out. This is different than quali, right? So with full fuel, well, 10 laps of fuel, I should say. You mean he had a glance on the inside in the S's. He was thinking about it for a hot second.
That's such a high-risk kind of situation there. Hudson's going to be in a pretty decent position on the straight here. He's so close to AJ Jackson. He's getting the heat from his gearbox, most probably. He's diving down on the inside. He's going to try to go in. He's not waiting for DRS advantage. He's actually looking maybe to get Maxime Beaulieu there. He's going to go in for another move on him.
He's burning that ERS too. He is trying to make everything happen right now. It's not going to be a 2-for-1. A little bit of late braking. Jason Pelter still on the outside. Hudson makes that move stick. AJ Jackson will fall behind. Hudson takes P5 and now has his sights set on Maxime Beaulieu, and there's that red light. That flashing red light. Maxime was unable to stay within DRS range of Cal. It's a 3.5 second gap, and he's got one of the quickest drivers in the league hot on his gearbox.
Great driving from the top middle tier of the drivers currently between Maxime and all the way down to AJ, and that allows Jason Pelter, who's slowly creeping up on them. He's in P7 right now.
Jason Pelter slowly creeping up. Marc-Louis Bastien up 5 spots. He's now in P8 after that Duncan spin. I think that helped him gain some spots. There's a Haas around. It might be Flosy. Flosy and the long right-hander in Sector 3. So Flosy and Seb. Valiant efforts here, racing up multiple divisions to give Haas some points in D1. Let's hop in with the leaders here. We're on with Cody Lawrence. That gap is just over a second. He's going to go into the DRS detection zone. Probably burning some battery. Going to try to close that gap. No. He will not get DRS going in that straight, but you know who will? The AlphaTauri of Cal, currently in P3. We'll see if he thinks about some sort of move on Cody Lawrence.
One thing we've seen in ZRL history down in USA is some drivers, for example, like in the situation that Cal is with Cody, he may wait for the very last lap to make that diving lunge down the back straight there. Maybe he's just his strategy or a good idea would be to just harvest his ERS as much as possible and use it down the straight, because right now Cody and he's chasing down Locklear, who's kept his P1 position since the beginning of the race so far.
Yeah,
has been done great.
Yeah, he's done absolutely great. I'm on with AJ Jackson. We just witnessed Hudson Poole take P4 from Maxime Beaulieu, and he'll be in to chip away at that 3.5 second gap to Cal. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's probably a little bit too much time to make a push for a sprint race podium. AJ Jackson, however, is hot on Maxime. They're both running low on battery, and we'll see if he can gain some time through the S's and try to position himself for an overtake around turn 11 and 12.
Yeah, P4 for Hudson Poole right now is exactly what he wants. He is positioning himself perfectly for the championship. Jeffrey Lawler is unfortunately thrown it all away at the very dying seconds of the qualifying, and he's got multiple contacts that happened throughout this race early in the race. So he's sitting down in P16. That means he would start, if the race ended now, he would start P16 for also the race. Hudson Poole just spun in Sector 1!
I tried to catch a little glimpse of it by hopping on with other drivers, but let's see where he's at. Duncan's in P11, Hudson's in P12. That was a heck of a spin.
He completely lost the rear. I was sure he was going to DNF. He went completely sideways into the wall. I don't understand how that Red Bull does not have wing damage. If it has damage, it is not visible on the car. He should have lost the wheel there. That was rather an impact there. So he's down in P12. That would give him no points and keep him on par with Jeffrey Lawler, despite the gap in positions there. Wow, I'm shocked. I was just looking at him, and he completely lost the rear and sent it into the gates.
Yeah, broadcast view giving us a real good look at his front wing that looks to me fully intact. So he may be unscathed after a pretty significant shunt into the wall. We'll see if that gap between Chase Wilson in P13 and Hudson Poole in P12 shrinks, or does anything indicate that there could be some additional damage.
Definitely cooked his tires for a while there, so he lost the gap got closed up because he had to baby his tires back to temp right now, and that's looking like let's not forget sprint race. There's only 3 laps left, and there's only the top 8 will be getting positions. And if there's drivers currently that are really happy about their chances for a podium or for a victory, is the Ferrari drivers. Cody Lawrence and Peter Giordano, both in point contenders, and they're also fighting really tightly with Red Bull, and Red Bull wouldn't get any points on the sprint race if it ended right now.
Yeah, they would not. Duncan McCamick so far the biggest loser in the sprint race, down 7 positions from his initial P4. Peter Giordano, the biggest winner. He's up 7 positions from P15 all the way up into P8. He's about 1.5 seconds behind the Alfa Romeo. Jason Pelter and AJ Jackson, the McLarens, having a great sprint day so far. They're currently in P4 and P6, and it's nice to see AJ make this stick. I'm hoping, I should have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything. Let's hop in with Maxime Beaulieu in P5.
Yeah, AJ Jackson is known to be a very fast driver. He's got to work a little bit on his consistency there. So far, he's been doing great, and we'll hope that continues as is, and that we didn't do a broadcast curse on him.
Jeffrey Lawler making a push past Eric Carvalho and Joaquin Torres in one go, and it looks like he got it into the Sector 3 right-hander. Fantastic move. So he's up to P14. He's up 6 spots in the sprint. Ironically enough, he's only 2 slots behind Hudson Poole right now. So
yeah,
his title hopes now very much alive.
Most definitely. I wonder if Joe Goron's voice in his ear just letting him know, hey, Hudson Poole's off track right ahead. You still got a battle for the championship. That's got to give him a boost of motivation and confidence there. And Jeffrey Lawler's gaining positions again.
Yeah. So as it stands now, if the race didn't... So as it stands now, after the sprint race, Ferrari is going to have the lead in the Division 1 Constructors' Championship. There's a yellow in Sector 1. It looks like another Haas. It might be Seb. Coming into the S's, it must have spun out after turn 1. But Cody would get 7 points. Peter Giordano would get 1 in P8. That would leave a 7-point lead for Ferrari into the race. Not the position that Red Bull wanted to be in here. 9 laps in to sprint qualifying.
Yeah, we were talking earlier how Duncan is rather fast on this track, and I know he's been putting a lot of time practicing. I'm a little bit surprised to see him down in P11, and so far the way it's looking, these drivers might be starting P11 and P12 for the Red Bulls, and that's not the optimal positions you really want to be starting the next feature race on.
Right. Luke Locklear's done a great job. Ooh, 3-second penalty for Aaron Altmaier. That will hurt a little bit. Might bump him down all the way to P11 or 12 himself. Let's stay on with Cody here. We're on the last lap. You mentioned that he could be biding his time to make a last lap push. He's got 22% battery. Luke Locklear's got 8% battery. And don't forget Cal in P3. Well, his battery is drained, but he could easily start to come to the party if these guys start to fight.
Yeah, we saw Luke go a little bit wide on one of those turns there. I think it was turn 8, and Cody, a little bit of a moment coming out of that turn. And Kyle right behind gets a 3-second penalty, so he doesn't have to worry about the AlphaTauri driver. He's just got to look ahead at Luke Locklear. He's going to have DRS and the ERS advantage on him.
DRS and the ERS advantage, and this is the time to burn it a little bit through the straight. Luke Locklear very left, trying to break that toe a little bit, but Cody Lawrence doing a great job getting in that slipstream. I don't know if he's going to make the pass here going into turn 12. No, he thought better of it. He's going to wait for the time, but he locks up a little bit, and Luke Locklear starts to pull away. That corner is so crucial for a good exit because it just sets up your entire Sector 3 on that particular corner. Advantage Luke.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Cody's looking at it. He's getting a little bit of a wiggle on the rear. You can tell the tires don't have that much grip anymore. Cody's got to remember, he wants to get points as much as possible for Ferrari, but
Yes.
setting himself for P2 for the feature race, that will be the most advantage for him. The biggest advantage against Red Bull.
That'll do. Maxime fighting with Jason Pelter in the McLaren. Just driving a little bit of a bump. They keep it clean. Cody Lawrence P2, Cal P3. Can Maxime make this stick? He goes along the inside to keep P5. And he does.
Wow.
And he does.
What a photo finish between
Wow.
these two drivers.
I'm glad we hopped on board with that. That was fantastic.
That was a little bit of tire rubbing there. Maxime didn't give his position away. He's maybe starting to gain a reputation that he doesn't like giving away a position just as easily, and he likes to take positions away from drivers. And he showed Jason that he had to respect the inside of the line there. Kind of kept him out a little bit on the outside and kept the position that way.
That was I thought that was good, clean, aggressive racing from both drivers, though I loved to see it. So Maxime will stay P5. He rounds out our top 5. Luke Locklear on pole, followed by Cody Lawrence. AJ Jackson makes it stick. And with the penalty, 3 seconds to Cal, he takes P3 in the sprint race. Just a beautiful drive. And he'll get to start up high again. Just showing that pace. Cal in P4, Maxime Beaulieu P5, Jason Pelter in the McLaren at P6.
Yeah.
So we'll round these guys
Good on
out.
AJ, who's shown quite some pace through this race so far. I mean, out of three races he's raced so far this season, only he came in a little bit later in the season. He's DNF twice, so 2 DNFs out of 3 races, and this is a sprint race where he's gone all the way and got P3. It's 6 points for him, and we'll see what he can do in the feature race.
Yeah, we'll see. So after penalties shake out, Jason Pelter 6, Marc-Olivier Bastien 7, Peter Giano 8, Major Castleman 9, Duncan McCamick in the top 10. Hudson Poole out of the top 10, currently in P11, followed by Aaron Altmaier, Chase Wilson, and the championship contender, Jeffrey Lawler. Both drivers with no points in the sprint. They'll start with a clean slate. Let's take a look again. 29-point advantage for Hudson Poole.
Yeah, those points. So Jeffrey Lawler is going to have to obviously finish ahead of Hudson Poole. I think it's going to be the best scenario is going to be for him to win a race, which will not be easy given the fact that he's starting so far behind. But we've seen an Aston Martin in Division 3 do that kind of race. Start, I think, around P16 and go all the way up to P2, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Freddie Rozelle in Division 3. So let's see if another Aston Martin could do such kind of race.
Freddie Rozelle, fan favorite, with a little bit of a razzle-dazzle there. He's really quick for D3. I'd be surprised if he sticks there. He's got incredible pace. We got the constructors standings up right now. The Mercs also had a good showing, but Luke Locklear with 10 points in the sprint does a lot. So if we're trying to do some quick math here, did Major Castleman get a point in the sprint? Was he P8?
I think he was.
I want to say he was. So if that's 11 points right there, Alpine's sitting at 307. Trying to do some quick math here. We'll go find where Maxime was P5, right? So if he gets 6 points for that, I believe that's currently Mercedes at 310, Alpine at 307.
If I would give him 4 points on Maxime there.
Oh, 4 points. 4 points
Yep.
on Maxime?
Yeah, it's 8 for first, and it goes all the way
8.
down.
Oh,
so
you're
P4.
right.
Yeah.
All right,
The race
no
is about to
formation
start.
lap here. We're on. Let's hop in with Thermo on the start. He always gets a great start. He's starting on the hard tires. Let's see how many drivers there are. Many of them. Maxime, a medium tire runner. He goes on the inside of turn 1. Is he trying to make a move on AJ Jackson? He doesn't make it stick, but he's going to want to try to get as much mileage out of those medium tires as he can. A lot of bumping and rubbing down there. Major Castleman had an incident. He'll turn around now. He's currently at the rear. Duncan McCamick back up to P11. Let's look at the position changes here. A couple yellows, another one in Sector 2. Hudson Poole up 4 spots. He's currently in P7. Joaquin Torres, big winner. He's up 5. Celios Repas, big winner. He's up 4. And Major Castleman, not good for their battle with Mercedes. He tumbled down the order. May have been an incident there. Didn't get a good look at it.
Just letting you know, Big Buff, just watch out for your constructors overlay. I think it's still on.
It is on. Got so excited starting about the constructors battle. Forgot about the actual race going on. Hudson Poole up 4 spots. He's at P7. Where is the contender? Jeffrey Lawler down 5 spots. We missed that, John. He's now in P19.
Yeah, I think he had another incident in the first sector. He was very aggressive. I was keeping an eye on him. He was super aggressive down in Sector 1, trying to get by a bunch of drivers. He was up there battling with Duncan McCamick, and that looks like another spin. So he's trying maybe a little bit too hard. He's thinking maybe a bit too much about that Constructors' Championship, right? And at the end of the season, we all thought, hey, Hudson Poole's got it. And out of nowhere, just Jeffrey Lawler is now thinking he's got a chance for an opportunity for it. Maybe the pressure is getting to him this race.
Yeah, it could be. It's really tough, right? Of course, when you push too hard and then these incidents start happening, but we don't know, right? We didn't see it. Someone could have bumped him for all we know. I'm surprised to see all these medium tire runners, Eric Perez, Seb, and Flosi, haven't gained any spots yet, right? Where they're on that, the alternate strategy seems to be faster overall, but when you start on those mediums, you got to try to get as much as you can. Cal, the big fight with Duncan. They're really close to each other in the S's. Duncan got a lot of pressure on Aaron Altmaier on the different tire, too. DRS starting last lap. Everyone paying attention to the intervals to make sure that they can stay within DRS range of those guys in front of them, because it's just super powerful here at COTA.
Hudson Poole's made 5 positions so far. We were talking about him starting P11. He's up in P6 already.
Hudson currently in P6, about 8 tenths behind the Alfa Romeo of Marc-Olivier Bastien. In P5, let's hop in with Maxime real quick and see if he can try to put some pressure on AJ Jackson. McLaren driver has had a hell of a second half of a season, just really throwing his pace around. And has been racing very well of late. That gap's starting to close a little bit. We'll see if he wants to make a push into turn 1. Is he going to burn some battery? He is. He's already almost half gone. Luke Locklear sets the fastest lap. 135. DRS enabled now this time around. And, ooh, has to... Heavy on the brakes. Jeffrey Lawler sets the fastest lap, but really well done by Maxime to prevent himself from ramming into the gearbox of AJ Jackson.
Yeah, that's the worst way you want to go if you're AJ. You really... The driver's really got on his pace right now this weekend, so... Secretly, maybe so far my driver, I wouldn't say driver today so far yet, but that's a guy you're kind of secretly rooting for the McLaren boys. Jason
Yes.
Pelter has been really carrying the weight all throughout the season, and couldn't wait to get a driver get in the second driver's seat and get points. And AJ Jackson's been doing that so far.
Yeah, I'm on with Jason Pelter right now, and I kind of feel bad, right? He's behind Hudson Poole. He's out of DRS range. He's burned a lot of battery to try to get in. I feel like we've seen this before. I feel like we've seen where Jason Pelter fighting up ahead, Hudson gets in front of him. He's got to burn so much battery just to keep up because Hudson's just got alien pace. But Jason Pelter currently in P7. He's down 1 spot rather, from the sprint race, and could be in a position to lock up P3 in the Drivers' Championship himself. Some info from the paddock as well, John. Looks like somebody did the math. Ethan Patel says if Hudson Poole finishes P14, the Drivers' Championship will be clinched. And I'm assuming that's if Jeffrey Lawler makes an incredible comeback, finishes P1, gets fastest lap. Hudson just needs P14 to win it. He's currently in P5. It looks like we were just talking about it. AJ must have had a moment because now he's in P8. No more talking about AJ. We're done. We'll hop in with Aaron Altmaier.
Aaron Altmaier, who just overtook Peter Giordano a moment ago down the back straight. He's gained 5 positions so far. So normally we're used to seeing maybe Aaron getting better qualifying than race pace. Right now his race pace is really on form tonight.
I want to head in with Cody Lawrence now, who's just about half a second behind Luke Locklear. Will have DRS going into the straight between turns 11 and 12. Let's see if he wants to make a move. He's got 50% battery. Doesn't make a move going into turn 11. Here's the straight. He's going to use any of that battery. Just a quick little burst there for the acceleration. Stays within the slipstream.
Oh no. Guess who triggered that yellow flag?
Oh. Disaster for AJ Jackson. Looked like coming out of the S's. Maybe around turn 9 and 10, which can be very slippery, very tricky. So going through the field right now, Hudson Poole now in P4. 1.7 seconds separates him and Maxime Beaulieu in P3. The Alfa Romeo Marc-Olivier Bastien is in DRS range behind him. We've seen this battle before. And Jason Pelter now having to try to keep pace with the Alfa. Although he seems to have an easier time of staying closer to within a 1 second gap. Jason may be able to make that one stick. I don't know if he's going to get DRS range going this time around. No. Little squirt of battery. Tries to stay in the slipstream. He'll try to keep that gap. Other storylines
we want to maybe look at is Marc-Olivier Bastien and Hudson Poole. I mean, these two drivers gave us probably the best driving lesson in Netherlands last time we were around there.
Yes.
Side by side on those bank curves. It was beautiful to watch, and see if they could give us something here tonight.
Yeah, that was incredible. I wonder if Marc-Olivier will use some battery here to try to get within range, but he's got to make up 3/10 in 2 turns before that extremely important DRS detection zone. Not that time around. And of course, Hudson has the DRS on Maxime, so that just helps him pull away even more. Other storylines so far, Cal is now down 7 spots. He's in P11, overtaken by his AlphaTauri teammate, Stelios Repas, in P7. Sorry, in P10 rather, up 7 spots.
Yeah, there's battles all over the track right now across the midfield. Kyle just overtook his teammate there, so Cal goes back in P10. And there's a driver that went around. That's Eric Perez in the
Eric Perez.
Williams.
Eric Perez of the Williams is around. And now he's got hot tires and he can't get himself sorted. We'll hop in with Jeffrey, who's got Guac in front of him, Eric Carvalho in front of him. May try to make a move soon. He should be in DRS range going into turn 1 to try to make a push. Eric Perez leaves the session potentially out of frustration. Or maybe connection issue, I don't know. We don't know that. Oh, a little bit of a moment for Jeffrey Lawler. He has the DRS, but won't be able to make a move on Guac this time around. Maxime, meanwhile, doing a great job of staying with Cody Lawrence. He's still got a 1.3 second gap to Hudson out of DRS range. And the DRS from Cody will surely help him keep that gap.
Yeah, that's the main thing that's helping Maxime right now. So, and Hudson pulls close the gap rather rapidly in Sector 1. I think he'll be just barely out of DRS right now. The other two drivers I'm looking at, it's Aaron Altmaier, who's got better pace than Jason Pelter, and he's a little bit of no man's land. Jason Pelter does not have DRS in front of him. I don't know if Aaron Altmaier is going to be able to make that move down to the next straight. He's a little bit too far, so he's going to make a move happening maybe in the next lap.
Not enough battery either. He's down towards 10% himself, both lights flashing. But right behind him, right, we were talking about it, Duncan McCamick. This is one of his strongest tracks. He's up 2 spots from P10. And he's currently in P8, which is certainly in striking distance to make something happen. Let's take a look at the tires here. So 5 laps on the mediums. I don't know, John, did you start on the mediums in your race? I'm curious when these things felt like they were going to go.
I believe it went on hards because we had potential rain near the end of our race in Division 2.
Right.
But I did have a go on the mediums. Usually around lap 10 was the main moment where most of the drivers went in for their pit stops. Usually lap 12 for some guys who really wanted to push him and try to gain an advantage on the hard tires for the end of the race.
On with Cal and Peter, who are side by side into the S's. Peter thought he had the pass going into turn 1, but Cal's made a move going into the S's. They're good at keeping room, but there's a little bit of a bump. A little bit of a bump and run now there. And Peter ends up losing
Cal
out.
to get another penalty. I think that's the second penalty so far.
Let's take a look at the penalties. Now he's only got 3 seconds so far, along with Seb. AJ sets the fastest lap in the medium tire. I wonder if he's pit already. He has. So Peter right on the gearbox. Almost a little spin from Cal, and he saves it.
Cal won't be able to defend this. Peter's all over him, and he's got the DRS advantage so far.
It was right on his butt. No ERS. That's a clean pass.
But Stellus Repas is following him, and he goes on the inside of Peter. Goes a little bit wide. Peter's going in for the switch. 3 wide. The drivers are going.
We're on with Stelios Repas, who's got a great view, but right behind him is Chase Wilson, who's all putting pressure on him. We got 4 cars going in to turn 15 to the stadium section. The Alfa Romeo makes the pass stick. He's currently in P11, but a much better exit for Stelios Repas. He goes around the outside. He'll be on the inside going into turn 19. Thinks about it for a sec, but doesn't make it happen. There's an Aston Martin around. It's Jeffrey Lawler.
I was just about to say, if there's somebody that would like to gain an advantage from that 4-way battle, like incredible 4-way battle they're having there, it's him who was able to catch up to them, and he just lost it.
Exactly. Just terrible timing. And Eric Carvalho's in the party now, but he's had an incident in turn 1, so he falls down. Chase Wilson pulls ahead in the Alfa Romeo, and Stelios Repas was able to pass him. So the Alpha Tower is currently running in 10 and 11. Another yellow in Sector 2.
Luke Locklear!
No way. It is.
Doesn't seem to have damage from what I've seen so far, so he just had a spin, and that's giving the lead to Cody Lawrence so far. And Ferrari fans are absolutely roaring right now, because that's a perfect position for them for the Constructors' Championship.
Yeah, a little bit of mixed feelings too in the Red Bull garage. Why? Because it gets them closer to the top as well. So Cody inherits the lead, but that's one less driver that Duncan and Hudson have to overtake to get to those high spots. Maxime Bouillou really doing well in those medium tires. He's up in the front of the field. He's up 3 spots. That's exactly what he wanted out of this stint. Right, he's probably got 5 laps to go, and he's keeping up
He's
really
really
nicely
making them
with
work.
Cody. Yeah, he is.
He's really keeping up with Cody so far. He's right in there in the DRS zone. He's gonna have DRS on the main straight. Cody had a little bit of a wiggle there. Is he gonna think about it for the inside? Looks like he's gonna keep it tame right there.
It looks like it. Yeah, actually, it was a perfect time for this little front wing camera angle, right? If he was going to make a lunge there, we would have gotten a great view of it as he tries to make the move happen. But he'll stay in P2. Cody makes it stick, currently in the lead of the race. His teammate Peter Giordano in P9, still fighting off Cal. Let's hop in with them now. A little bit less close than they were in the S's last lap. We're only 9 laps in. We're about 33% of the way through. A little bit of understeer perhaps on in that. If you don't take the optimal line through the S's, I think you were alluding to it earlier, John. Like, you miss one apex, the whole sector is just gone for you. You know, you lose half a second.
Yeah, you have to like slow your car down and take the proper apex, and you lose easily 2 to 3 times just by doing that. And
Yeah.
that could be super crucial in the race.
Luke Locklear is going to have a hard time closing that 2.2 second gap to Hudson Poole. Meanwhile, Hudson himself is now within DRS range of the Mercedes of Maxime Beaulieu. So they'll come here into the stadium section, into turn 15. Very slick there, easy to lose it, at least for me, Division 4 guy. These guys are pros. Really makes it stick on the outside too, just to get as much time as possible. You can cut the heck out of that curb, and he did that perfectly. The car control for the drivers at this level is just incredible.
Yeah, most definitely. And there's battles going all over the midfield. It seems like everywhere we're looking, there's 2 to 3 cars really on each other's gearbox. I just watched Kyle Blevins fighting it out with Peter Giordano. Peter Giordano got the upper hand there. We got Aaron Altmaier, who's looking potentially as making a turn 1 move on Jason Pelto. That's not going to happen, and he's been following him for a couple laps.
Cal's making the push on Peter Giordano, and I think he made it stick. The DRS between turn 20 and turn 1, rather, so the front stretch, he makes it stick. Let's hop in with Peter now. Right on his gearbox, there's a yellow in Sector 3. May have been AJ Jackson having a moment. Peter Giordano trying to stay tight with Cal. Finishing Sector 1, you take this one wide so you can cut this turn as much as you can going into the DRS detection zone. Let's look at the gap. It's about 7/10. Peter will get DRS following turn 11 to try to make a move into turn 12. Let's take a look at the battery. 13 for Peter, 9 for Cal. These guys have just been milking the battery for all they can.
Yeah, it's been 4 laps in a row. These guys have been battling it out on turn between 18 and 19 there on the straight. Somebody who's been closing the gap rather consistently so far is Hudson Poole. He's sitting behind in P3. The only reason he can't get past Beaulieu is that he's got DRS in front of him by Cody, but hasn't, the Mercedes driver has not been able to make the move on the Ferrari one, and that's probably going to open the door for Hudson Poole to make a move eventually.
Yeah, and Maxime's tires, and the move might be happening right now.
Yeah, he's going on the pits.
Oh, so Maxime with a little bit of an undercut. So he's going to try to get 18 laps on the hards, undercutting everyone else on the medium tire strategy. He had a great stint there, up to P2, keeping times with Cody Lawrence and gaining enough time to stay within DRS range. So let's see where he comes out. We'll hop in with Stelios Repas. Actually, no, sorry, with Maxime himself. Once we press the button, he was passed. Maxime will slot in P13.
Yeah, those hard tires are cold on Sector 1, and it's really tricky there, so you got to be careful not to push your car a little bit too much and lose the rear like we've seen Hudson Poole doing during the sprint race.
Big battle going on in the S's right now. Chase Wilson made the pass on Stelios Repas. Those medium tires starting to have a little bit less grip. I think we're past the turnover point. Stelios should have DRS going into this, but while this is going on, let's hop in with Hudson Poole, who has DRS through the front straight, closes that gap really nicely, the back straight rather, between turns 11 and 12. He is right on the butt of Cody. This is it. Ferrari versus Red Bull. Drivers' Championship, Constructors' Championships, all on the line right here.
And if there's a driver that could really hold it together and gain everything back again. It's Hudson Pool, so we'll see what he can do so far. He's got so good. These drivers got good grip going on the hard tires still.
Yeah, the hards run really nicely around this track, and if you have a setup that warrants itself towards conserving that as Hudson gets that DRS, Cody, of course, is sitting duck in the lead. He won't get that, but the pace is just too much. It's a little harder, it's a little more difficult to make a pass going into turn 1 than it was, let's say, to turn 11 and 12. A yellow in sector 3. It looks like a Haas is around. That will be Seb. And Stelio's going into pit on his 11th lap. So we're seeing the medium tire runners go into pit now. The highest medium tire runner left over now is Aaron Altmaier in P6.
Yeah, Aaron is doing a decent job keeping up behind Jason Pelter, but what I've noticed is even with DRS behind Jason, Jason's got way higher speed down the straight, so that's what I was telling you earlier about the difference in the setup. It's just not working out for Aaron Altmaier to make the move on Jason Pelter. That leaves him vulnerable for Duncan McCamick behind in P7.
Exactly, yeah, I was hopping on with that right now. We'll see if Duncan wants to make the move here. He's got almost half his battery left. He's got the DRS. He can make it clean on that side. He's going to make it stick. Aaron Altmaier must be burning his battery, and indeed he is. And he stays alive. Wow. Good defending, but he drained his entire battery to keep that spot.
Yeah, I think Aaron is more defending from Duncan than he is trying to attack Jason Pelter, so he's probably got to consider the undercut here. Might be going into the pits now.
Let's hop in with Aaron, see if he does. He comes into turn 19, cutting that curve, carrying as much speed as he can. He can just engine brake there if you can. He is not going into the pits. He's going to go one more lap on medium tires. Will he have the DRS on Jason? Yes, he does. Will Duncan think about a pass here? There's another yellow in sector 2 of 3.
Two drivers
that might be a Williams
have gone around. Yeah, the Williams of Joaquim Torres has gone around as well. I believe it was Seb once again in the for Haas. So I think these drivers are starting to feel maybe the tire wear.
A lot of battles going on. Hudson Pool is within 4/10 of Cody Lawrence. His teammate Duncan McCamick within 3.5 of Aaron Altmaier. There's going to be some moves made here as Chase Wilson gets 3-second penalty. There's going to be some moves made here. Let's hop in with Hudson Pool. TV pod. DRS. Cody got a really good exit coming out of there. And I don't know if the DRS is even going to be enough. Cody might be running a really low downforce setup himself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's allowing him to defend so much because Cody just got to position the car properly and all throughout Sector 3. That allows him to keep him away, Hudson Pool behind him throughout the whole sector. So Hudson's going to try to find a creative way to get him.
Yeah, I was on with his teammate Duncan. I almost had a little moment going into turn 12 and 13. He corrected it, still behind Aaron Altmaier. I think he won't be for long, as it's probably the right time for Aaron Altmaier to hop into the pits. More battles going in. Maxime Beaulieu, of course, he's finished his strategy. He's on the hard tires for the rest of the race. Is he going to make the switchback happen on Chase Wilson?
Oh, wow.
Almost. He's side by side going into the stadium section. Really, those 2-lap fresh hards are going to have better grip, but Chase Wilson had the line going in. They cut turn 19 perfectly. Maxime is going to have DRS. Battery's still low. Didn't get a lot of regeneration in the pits. Here's the DRS. Another yellow in Sector 3. They're still playing spin cycles over there. The Haas and the McLaren in the back. And Maxime might be going for the move on Chase. Late braking on the inside. Cuts the curb nicely. He's got it. Chase not giving up. Will be right on his gearbox though into the S's, and I think that Maxime has made it stick.
Great move by Beaulieu so far. He's really on his race tonight.
Yeah, he's flying tonight in the Silver Arrow. It looks great.
I would just watch Cody and Hudson. I could tell you Cody's got a lower downforce setup. As soon as they get out around that corner and around the turn 18, turn 12, sorry, I believe, they're flying. Like, he's flying out of there way ahead of Hudson Pool. So Hudson's got to figure out, and I think that might be done through an undercut, possibly. The undercut's rather strong here in Coda.
Yeah, the undercut can be strong, especially if you extend it to where you eliminate DRS for the person behind you. Right, let's hop in now. I want to get the gap to the leader because I'm looking at Cody Lawrence. And I'm trying to see when he's going to come out of the pits. You know, all the gaps maintain here, right? And I'm looking at Maxime Beaulieu, who's the first one to complete his tire strategy. Or rather, should I say he's the highest one up the leaderboard, who's completed his tire strategy. And currently it'd be very close. I think it's about a 20-second pit stop here, John.
Yeah, just about. And maybe even a little more. I mean, that's Sector 1. We spoke about earlier how it's a really you need a lot of precision driving to go through Sector 1. If you're going on cold tires, it could get really tricky, and you got to be careful on that.
Hudson Pool is
One
up
of the main reasons why the
spots.
undercut's so strong.
Yeah. Hudson Pool is up 9 spots. Let's get back on the tires here. Luke Locklear currently back up in P3. Really due to Maxime pitting, right? He's closed that gap to Hudson, though, pretty well. It was 2.2 seconds, so he's chopped about a half a second in that gap, which is good. He's showing some pace. We're on with the Alfa Romeo, Marc-Olivier Bastien. He's in P4. He's got DRS on Luke Locklear. That'll be carrying him up. And as we see, that's had an impact on Jason Pelter, who's currently in P5. And there's almost a 5-second gap now between him and the Alfa Romeo. And you got Duncan behind you with DRS. He may be able to make that pass before the pit.
Yeah, we're approaching the pit strategies very, very soon here, so we'll see how these drivers work their way around and which driver is going to be doing the undercut as well. Usually we're looking around between lap 16 to 18 for hard tires to pit. Could be sooner, could be later, depending on how these drivers feel they want to play the strategy. And as I'm saying that, I just watched Jason Pelter dive into the pit, so he's taking it right now.
Jason Pelter with the undercut. That will give Duncan McCamick P5. Using some battery there to see if maybe he can, but nah, it's a 5-second gap there. Peter Giordano also going into the pit. Jeffrey Lawler with a 3-second penalty. He had just made it up to P10. We were able to show the tail end of the pass between him and Chase Wilson, but he just got a 3-second time penalty, and that will hurt his championship aspirations even more.
Yeah, and with Hudson Pool being P2, even if Jason Jeffrey went all the way back to P1 and won it, I don't know if Hudson Pool will be able to drop down enough. In regards to championship strategies, he was really hoping that sprint race would give him as many points as possible or close that gap between him and Hudson Pool, so as this feature race would allow them to be able to close the gap. And as I'm saying that, there's Hudson Pool, who's taking P1 from Cody Lawrence down the back straight. He's finally got him.
It looked like Cody let that overtake happen. And I wonder if it's because maybe he's going in soon and he doesn't want to fight to conserve overall time. But Hudson had probably the smallest gap going into turn 11 that he's had the entire race. And I think maybe Cody understood that and understood where he was with battery and pit strategy. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in right now.
Yeah, that would be the strategy to do to go for. And if Hudson Pool is aware of what the Ferrari might be doing, he might want to dive into the pits as well to try to undercut Cody. Yep. And both of them,
and
there you go, both of them are in the pits.
In. Luke is in. Marc-Olivier Bastien is in. Duncan is out, unless he didn't get there yet. Duncan is in.
He's in as well.
Cal
he's
stays
not going to go in.
Cal stays out. There's a 6-second gap between him and Maxime Beaulieu. They will inherit the effective lead of the race unless... And Hudson comes out ahead of Cody in the pits. Oh, he made that pass happen already. I was just so used to seeing Cody up front.
Somebody, that's what I'm talking about, the undercut earlier. Look who just slipped in between Hudson Pool
Wow.
and Cody. And if there's somebody that's cheering for him right now, it's Red Bull. Mercedes just split the battle between Hudson Pool and Cody Lawrence. Red Bull and Ferrari.
That is amazing. That is one way to make yourself relevant in the championship race. And boy, are they ever.
Maxime Beaulieu, he's going to get his certification for party pooper if he keeps it going like that.
I love it. Now, he's a little bit low on battery. I'm on with Cody Lawrence, and I can see that light flashing. 11 laps to go. Of course, I'd rather be on the fresh mediums than the 6-lap old hards. But we'll see. The more Maxime can hold off Cody, the better for Hudson Pool. And Jeffrey Lawler making the move on Luke Locklear. We're on the tail end of that. Luke Locklear was pushed way wide Luke is on the fresh mediums. Jeffrey Lawler on old hard tires. He still has to complete his pit strategy. He's up in P5, but that probably won't be for long. Let's hop in with Luke. He's going to go on the inside of the stadium section. He's got that grip, and he makes that easily.
Great on keeping it clean from their part, but indeed, Jeffrey Lawler is probably hoping and praying for a potential safety car. So far, these drivers, despite the later drivers spinning around near the tail end of the track so far, but so far they've been doing really great to keep it clean.
Yeah, he did say the Alfa Romeo going around the inside of Jeffrey Lawler. Is he going to make it stick? Oh, really good clean racing. Jeffrey Lawler did great to keep that one intact. I wonder if he's going around one more time. Going to try to get DRS twice, right? And then come in. Because if you go much longer than this, you're going to sacrifice your medium stint, and you're not going to get enough out of the better tires.
Well, Cody Lawrence finally got past Maxime Beaulieu. I think he did that in turn 1 just before getting to the S's. But now there's a 1.6 second gap between Hudson Poole and Cody Lawrence. Let's see how that gap. I wonder how much that gap is gonna melt on the straight line, knowing that Cody Lawrence has got higher top end speed than Hudson. But that's gonna be quite a gap to close up on both of these drivers.
Yeah, good point. That's significant. And without the help of DRS too, I wonder how difficult that's gonna be. It will also be a challenge for Maxime to stay within DRS range of Cody while fighting off the charging Luke Locklear on his own medium tire alternate strat. So a lot of battles going in towards the front. Jeffrey Lawler trying to maintain that 1 second gap. I don't know if it's going to happen. He may go in this lap. There's another yellow. It's Guac in P18. No, sorry, yeah, P18 now in the Williams with a spin.
I'm definitely going to be taking my calculator out in a minute because currently we're looking at a Red Bull in P1 and a Ferrari in P2.
Yep.
Duncan McCamick just made an overtake on the back straight on Aaron Altmaier. That puts him in P8, so he's going to get a couple chunks of points there. Peter Giordano, we haven't seen him much throughout the entire race so far. He's sitting back in P11. That's not something we're used to seeing on Peter Giordano.
No, we're not. And he's three spots behind where he started, right? And looking at who's in front of him, you can expect him to probably overtake Dago upon a pit stop, right? He'll probably overtake Aaron Altmaier on tire strategy. But, you know, moving forward, I don't think there's enough room for him to have a thought at a Mercedes. And I think that I really like where Duncan's at right now. And I think he's probably got a better shot at fending off Peter. So right now, the way it stands, Red Bull looks good. Duncan now in DRS range of Jason Pelter, but I don't think he got it on that stretch. He was still closing the gap. Maybe not so much anymore. I'm not sure if Jason may have been using battery, but he's out of it now. Take a look at some more battles going on in the grid. The Alfa Romeo, Marc-Olivier Bastien. P5, 3/10 behind Maxime Beaulieu on fresher, better compound tires. He's going to get DRS here going into turn 1. Waiting on John's math here as we watch the Alfa Romeo get up to the gearbox. There's a yellow in sector 2. Not enough to make the turn happen there. Let's up it. Maxime is out of battery. He may have been using some battery there to keep Marc-Olivier away. I'm not sure if it worked. Duncan McCamick, 6/10 behind Jason Pelter. Let's hop in with him. They're going through the yeses. He may think about making a push in this DRS zone coming up. Nice and tidy through 6 and 7. Cuts that curb really nicely.
Yeah, so if my calculations are correct, and that's obviously subject to change, Red Bull will gain a 10-point gap on Ferrari. Now, and I did not include the sprint. Do you remember how many points that was for Ferrari on the sprint race?
That's a good point. Well, so Cody finished P2, right? So he got
7,
and Peter Giordano finished outside of the points.
So that means currently there's a 3-point gap between the advantage of Red Bull, if I did the math correctly. which is really not my forte. So,
Yeah, so
might want to
currently-
recalculate that.
Well, so let's think about this, right? So if Peter Giordano is in P11, right, you can assume he'll eventually pass Aaron Altmaier or make a good push for it. Cal has a 3-second penalty, so it's very possible for
Wow.
Peter Giordano to now finish P9. Is that a 3-point difference? Because it might be.
That would drop it to a 1 single point difference.
Wow.
If that were to happen. If I calculated correctly, because I'm doing all that by hand, so I'm going to keep an eye on that.
Labibity Beeb in chat is saying that he got 1 point in the sprint, and that's correct. He finished P8 in the sprint. I read the thing wrong. He's down 3 points from his original P8. So Peter got a point in the sprint.
So if that is the case, in a longer scenario, we could potentially end up with a constructor's tie.
That would be a tie. That would be a tie. So we'll be watching that the whole time. Duncan wanted me to do math and stream. John, I think you're doing a great job holding it down for me.
I'll do my best on my end.
Marc-Olivier Bastien making the move on Maxime Beaulieu. I think that was only a matter of time. He will find himself in P4.
Yeah, Maxime Beaulieu's hurting a little bit there. You know, he's got his tires, or his hard tires are 10-lap olds compared to the fresher mediums. The undercut worked wonders for him, but now he's finding himself just losing out on the back, and he's really under the pace. And behind him, there's somebody that's on 20-lap old hards, and that is Jeffrey Lawler, who's battling it out with Jason Pelter right now. And Duncan McCormick's right behind him, just sniffing it out. He's going to try to make a move on Jeffrey, possibly. And those are crucial points for the Red Bull right now.
Yeah, those crucial points for the Red Bull, and a really nice job for Jason to come out of that on top and unscathed. And don't forget, I mean, look, Jeffrey Lawler is he's into the pits now. He made it happen. So 20 laps. He's gonna go softs. I think he's gonna go soft tires.
He's going the hard soft strategy. Yeah, that's
right.
That's a way to look at it. That's a way to look at it. I don't know how that's gonna work. I haven't seen Encoda so far a driver go hard softs and not regret it.
Well, he's got to try something different, right? So he'll slot out in P13 behind Chase Wilson in the Alfa Romeo, Eric Carvalho in the Mercedes, and P10, Peter Giordano in the Ferrari. So Peter's got to work on closing that gap to to Aaron Altmaier, rather. That is number one priority.
Okay, so here's a quick update. Duncan McCormick going from P8 to P7 gives him 2 extra points. Peter Giordano going from P11 to P10 is 1 extra point. So 10 points for P11, 11 points for P10. Duncan McCormick, where he's sitting in P17, is 16 compared to P8, which is 14 points.
Unreal that it's that close. Duncan McCormick thinking about making a move on Jason Pelter. Right on his gearbox. Had to stop short there to prevent himself from crushing his front wing into the rear of that McLaren. He does it well. He keeps it clean. Jason Pelter has a little bit of a moment. They go into the stadium section, competing for grip, competing for the good line. A little bit of a slipstream, but it's hard to get one there. Hard braking into turn 19. Duncan McCormick will have to wait for P6 for another day. Looking at our leaders now, John, that gap now, Cody has a 2.5 second gap now to Hudson in P1.
Yeah, Hudson got back in the groove to what he got us used to doing throughout the entire season. He's had a rough end of the season, right? But if there's a driver right now who's in complete control and who's really going to stamp his message by gaining the Drivers' Championship, it's Hudson Poole. And at the moment, he's only got 5 laps to go. He's just got to bring it home.
He's just got to bring it home. We're on with Duncan, who's looking for one more spot. Some additional points. He's putting tons of pressure on Jason Pelter. This is the best overtaking zone on the circuit. He's going to have the DRS. He had 40% battery. He's starting to spend it. He gave a little squirt there. Back up to maximum speed. Where's Jason Pelter battery? His light is flashing. And in a few laps, I would not be surprised if that manifests itself in a clean pass. Peter, meanwhile, has successfully closed that gap to Aaron Altmaier and is now fighting for P9. But he's got to make that move quick, because then he's got to chop into the gap with Cal and hope that those penalties result in a gain position. Jason Pelter did end up losing that spot to Duncan. Duncan McCamick now in P6. There's another yellow. Major Castleman has DNF'd. There's a safety car.
Oh my goodness.
There's a safety car, and Jeffrey Lawler is in P13
So
already on fresh, soft tires.
So everybody is gonna go in for softs. You gotta expect that from the drivers, and I think the big winners right now are the drivers who are diving. Well, potential big winners. We'll see how that goes on. Now, here's what's going on. The drivers are so spread out from P1 to P19 that the safety car, by the time Hudson Poole gets back to the safety car, and he's back on the straight, right?
He is.
And we got 4 laps to go. I think the safety car might be going in and the pack will not have had time to bunch up together completely.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So if I'm Jeffrey Lawler, this is really good for me. This closes the gaps. This is good for Peter Giordano. This is good for Duncan McCamick if he wants to make a move on Maxime Beaulieu. This is good for Cody Lawrence because perhaps the possibility to win the race is back on the table. We're on with Hudson. All eyes on if that Red Bull makes a sharp left turn into the pits.
Yeah. With 7-lap-old mediums, you kind of think about it, but you also want to keep your position. And
he stays out.
Doesn't look like he's gonna go in, but Cody Lawrence
goes in.
will go in.
Cody goes in. Wow. Now where is he gonna fall?
A very, very bold move. So we're gonna see where he comes up behind and how many drivers are going into the pits.
He put on medium tires.
Are those his old mediums? I wonder if that has been a mistake.
Well, you get 2 sets of mediums after the sprint race for some reason. You do.
Okay, so you do. Okay, it's not his sprint race mediums.
No.
Okay.
But I think he's the only one who pit and did not go on the soft tires. We'll have to hear from the Ferrari guys afterwards. That's interesting.
That is Ferrari strategy at its finest.
Where's Mattia Binotto when you need him?
Right? I mean, we definitely have a question for Cody Lawrence right now.
Yeah, we do. So we'll see how much time that gap has to close. So yeah, I think you're right. So that safety car, it's got to go in this lap, right? Because they need...
It would be this lap because it has to have at least two laps of racing, right? This is a motorsport. We will not finish a race under the safety car.
We will not. We're going car racing. And we're going to decide the winner of ZRL D1 Constructors.
And that would really officialize it. I think Cody Lawrence may have made a terrible mistake here. Because look at this. Hudson Poole's in P1 and Duncan McCamick is in P4.
Yeah,
and
that's
Cody
tough.
is back down in P7.
Unless it's some big brain move that I don't understand, John. He's usually so sound with these sort of decisions. I don't understand it for now. Maybe we'll hear about it later. Chase Wilson maybe in a little bit of danger. This is actually terrible for him. He's got 3-second penalties, so they're all bunched up behind him.
Yep.
Right? And he's on worse tires by a significant amount. So I think he's a sitting duck. Maxime is in a good position. He's got to make that move to Cody happen ASAP, though, so he can get maybe in front of Cal and try to pick off some of these medium tire runners.
Exactly. The safety car is going to go around another round here.
Okay, probably the last one. Got to be.
Now there's a last-second driver going into the pits again. That's Cody Lawrence. He's back into the pits, so he wanted softs.
If Cody's screwed him over, that would be extremely unfortunate. He should come out ahead of Stelios Repas in P14. That is, though, I did not want to see it end like that.
Yeah, as much as we didn't really want to see Jeffrey Lawler get disqualified from quali at literally 3 seconds until it ended.
Yep.
Now we're seeing Cody Lawrence with the pit stop strategies. That's an unfortunate mistake, and he's going to have 2 laps to try to make up for it as much as possible. Peter Giordano, let's not forget, he's a very quick driver. Something could happen, but
It's
Oh,
just
that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a really tough one. Red Bull is in a perfect position to clinch both drivers and constructors championship within the next 2 laps.
that is unfortunate. We're
So we
assuming the
went from
safety car-
calculating a potential tie or just a couple points gap to this, but maybe being blown away. We'll see what could happen. I mean, anything could happen now that all these drivers are bunched up, right? And if the soft tire drivers could get their tires up to temp, I mean, those medium tires, let's not forget, they are about to be 9-lap-old tires.
They're about to be 9-lap-old medium tires. Safety car in. I'm seeing some chatter. Ryan Newman, aka Barney Goatmere, says race win for Maxime. And I gotta tell you what, when you go into Sector 1 and you have the difference between fresh softs and 9-lap-old mediums, and y'all are bunched up, Maxime is in a great position right now.
Great position, maybe. But if there are, as we've seen, multiple drivers, every race start we've had throughout the divisions has seen drivers lose it out completely into Sector 1 because of that tricky corner, because you try to overtake a guy with an apex that's just really tight and it's not really happening, and because it's high speed. I'm expecting a little bit of tire rubbing, maybe a couple wings flying over. Let's see how these D1 drivers can keep it clean. Hudson's about to start it up.
We'll try to do broadcast view to give the best view of all the action. We're on with Jason Pelter, who's currently in P5. They pull away. Hudson Poole gets a nice push. Let's hop in with Maxime. Let's see where he's at. He didn't get as good of a jump on Cal as he wanted. They're all going to bunch up into turn 1. Chase Wilson's lost position already. Maxime goes deep. Maxime spins! Maxime spins and tumbles down the order. Jason Pelter P5, Cal P6, Chase Wilson up to P7. Jeffrey Lawler now the lead soft tire runner in the Aston Martin, and he is in. And there's another incident. Jason Pelter around. Jason Pelter around. The medium tire runners making it stick so far, except for Cal. A lot of them have gone up. Peter Giordano P7, Cody Lawrence P9. They're trying to make another push.
Incredible, and Peter Giordano was probably the biggest winner so far of the safety car. He's gained 4 positions throughout this, and that's really unfortunate for Jason Pelter, who was, I think, P5 or P6 before having that spin. And Jeffrey Lawler and Chase Wilson are having a battle in front of him. That's perfect for Peter Giordano, who wants to overtake both of these drivers, try to make a push for the constructors.
Yeah, Cody Lawrence is back into play. He's watching 4 cars in front of him, all within range of having battles. The one, the only, AJ Jackson is back in the fray. He's in the top 10. Eric Carvalho loses a couple of positions. Peter up to P7. Cody up to P8. He's fighting with Era for P9. An incredible amount of battles. Chase Wilson, who we thought would be a sitting duck, is holding himself quite nicely on 10-lap-old medium tires. Peter gets a devastating 3-second penalty. The last lap is underway right now.
Absolutely incredible, and I think that's done it. The Ferrari drivers are going to push so hard.
Oh,
and, what a
carnage
push!
into turn 1!
Both Ferrari drivers made contact with drivers in front of them.
An Alpha spun, a Mercedes spun. Peter Giordano in P6, Cody in P7. They're making a valiant effort here. There's only 1 lap. There may be too much gap to maintain.
Yeah, and even if they did make it up on the track, I mean, honestly, I saw Cody Lawrence make a really late-breaking lunge and bumped into the Mercedes, who bumped into the Ferrari, who bumped into the driver in front of him. So that was just quite an unfortunate series of events for the drivers there.
Let's hop in with Cody. We're in. Is he going to try to make a pass on his teammate? No, he's not. Peter Giordano, I don't know if he's got, maybe he is. Is Peter going to let him go? We'll see. Yes, he is. Eric Carvalho now in a battle with AJ Jackson, who, if you recall, had a spin, found himself in P20 for what felt like half the race, and he is now fighting for P8. We'll go through the podium spots real quick as we get into Sector 3. Hudson Poole with the lead. It will lock up the Drivers' Championship for him. Luke Locklear in the Alpine. Behind him will go for P2 today. Marc-Olivier Bastien, I believe, could be in line for his first ZRL podium. Let's watch him come around the corner. DRS enabled, but it's too late. Hudson P1, Luke P2, Marc-Olivier Bastien P3, Duncan up outstanding P4. Cody recovers for a P5. Jeffrey Lawler P6. AJ P7. Era, Peter, and Maxime round out your top 10. Chase Wilson caught up in that incident. He fell to P11. Pelter P12. Aaron Altmaier, Celios Repas, Seb, Cal, Flosi, and Eric Perez round out the finishers. Wow. What
What a
carnage.
finish to the end of the season. Despite everything, driver of the day is going to Jeffrey Lawler. Wow, we're gonna have interesting interviews. I'm really curious to see the comments, and I'm thinking, how about we go double interviews? Bring in the Ferrari boys, both Ferrari boys in here, and as well as both the Red Bull boys, and then we'll go on with the usual podium finishers.
Yeah, let's talk about that first. Yeah, John, if you want to wrangle them all into the waiting room and start to pull them in, we will get going. So I don't think the math is necessary there. Red Bull came in with a 1-point lead. They get a P1 and a P4 to seal the deal in constructors. Hudson Poole with the win. He seals the deal in the World Drivers' Championships as well. An outstanding day for them. It was looking a little squirrely for a while, but they made it happen.
Yeah, that safety car definitely gave them the sweats, I would assume.
Definitely
They made it work.
gave them the sweats. Let's hop in here and get the results on the screen where we get everybody locked into the waiting room. We have anyone in there now?
Yeah, we're just about to get them in a moment. So far we got a couple drivers coming in the waiting room.
We could do champions first if you wanted.
Yeah, let's do it up for that. And if we went for champions, you would want to bring the Red Bull boys in here, right?
Yep. Yeah, let's do champs first. Let's bring in Hudson and Duncan.
Right.
Now, Duncan said he lost
Bring him
his
right here.
voice, but he finished P4, so we don't need to hear from him.
Well, we'll hear how Duncan sounds with a lost voice. I'm sure everybody would love that. Speaking of which, the Red Bull boys, Duncan McCamick, Hudson Poole.
Let's go!
There he is.
Let's-
Champions.
Oh
Bringing
my God,
you
dude.
guys in early. Guys, there was so much action there. I guess my first question, though, is Hudson, once you saw that Dago got DQ'd from quali, did you think that was it, that you already had it? You were good?
Sorry, what? I'm a little like brain fogged right now. What did you say?
When Dago got DQ'd from quali, did you know the deal was sealed at that time?
I didn't really know he was DQ, to be honest, because I was so worried because I kept invalidating and I was like just freaking out about everything. Real quick, I brought my boy Big Mama Frank in here because he was the engineer the flipping
Yes.
day, dude. Oh my god. Oh,
That was
dude,
awesome.
so amazing.
So but before we ask you guys questions, right, just kind of talk about how you guys prepared for today. What was your strategy going in, and how you all feel after this? I think, Duncan, was the longest season in ZRL history. I'm sure it was a slog. We only had one bye week and 12 races. How do you guys feel right now?
I feel like, dude, I'm like literally like ecstatic, dude. I'm like up walking around. Glad I got a wireless headset. Like so much energy. Dude, what made it even more fun is like, to be honest, I thought we were done. Like the sprint race did not go well, and I really did. I was like, oh no, man, if we mess this up, because I spun and I kind of felt down, and like, you know, they definitely had us on our heels, and then like somewhat through the race before the safety car came out, like we got told, or at least I got told, that if we just kept things the way they were, we would win, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I don't know if that's what triggered the Ferraris to come into the pits, and then Cody got the glitch, which is really unfortunate. So we'll never know what would happen if he didn't get the glitch, but yeah, that sucks.
Duncan, I think it happened behind you. Did you see kind of what happened in that turn 1 carnage in the last lap? It may have been a few cars behind. I don't know if you got a glimpse.
In my rearview mirror, it looked like maybe was it an Alpine? I saw someone. No, it was Pelter something. I saw was carnage behind me, and I said, to my engineer. I was like, carnage behind me did everyone get out okay? And then my engineer told me Cal may have been involved. That's all they said.
Got it.
So I think Cal got collected in it.
So this race, the sprint race, the quali, the disqualifying, Cody just glitches. At some point, we were calculating during the broadcast, you guys for the constructors championship was potentially 1 to 2 points away. At some point, we potentially even tied, depending on certain scenarios. Just talk to us through the ups and lows of the races so far, and what was the role as well as your engineer? You brought Big Mama Frank over here, which I salute by the way. You brought him in here. What was his role throughout the whole the qualifying of the 2 races?
Real quick, Hudson can answer this question, but I just want to point out Red Bull team came together today, dude, because we had not 1, not 2, but we had 3 engineers. So it's really cool the setup we had. I had my own personal engineer, which is Dougie Falcons. Hudson had his own personal engineer, which is Big Mama Frank. And then we had our lead strategist who was keeping track of the points the whole time on an Excel spreadsheet, and that was Ethan Patel. So everyone threw in today, and we worked together, and it was awesome. Just everyone pitching in to help us get this freaking awesome feeling. Anyway, Hudson, I'll let you talk about the season.
So throughout the season, I think after Bahrain early on, me and Duncan, we were doing pretty well, and then we were kind of just running away with it. And like the past 5 races, we just kind of started falling off, not doing good. Unfortunate events started happening, and yeah, going into this, I think we practiced more than we ever did throughout this whole season, because it was all down to this, and we needed to win the constructors championship, and it flipping paid off, man. It was amazing. And for this race, throughout the sprint and quali, my engineer Big Mama Frank, he at least throughout the sprint, I was kind of doing well off the start. I got into 5th and I spun, and he was just telling me to keep my head up, and so much stuff can happen in the race, and I was just kind of like, yeah. And then he was flipping right, man. We got a really good start in the race, and he kept me through it. And my boy Duncan finishing, and oh my god, dude, oh my god.
P4, let's go. I feel like I did my part for once. Oh man, my wife is telling me today. She's like, I feel like you haven't done your part this season, but I did it today, so I guess that's what it counted, right?
Oh yeah.
It's cool to the team effort. I mean, I think I can speak for a few team principals that the way you guys run the team is incredible, and I'd like to kind of take notes from how you guys do it with your crew, because I think it's 2 years in a row now with both championships, and it's pretty cool. So looking to next season, you guys trying to come back as is? Any indications? I mean, what are you guys thinking about?
Oh, dude, I can't ruin any surprises right here. So we just have to see what happens in the draft.
You want to just confirm with us, Duncan, the draft is being held, I believe, Sunday in 2 weeks. Am I right, or is that still to be confirmed?
Oh, dude, I'd have to find my. Yeah, I can't confirm. Sorry, no, I don't know. I think 2 or 3 weeks, something like that.
Most definitely. Congratulations, guys, for both Constructors Championship and World Drivers Championship in Division 1. You guys battled it out like lines out there on the track. It's very much well deserved.
Thank you so much.
Congrats, guys. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right, let's.
So should we bring our Ferrari boys?
We could. I think we might want to. You want to finish out the podium first, right?
Yeah.
Let's get Luke in here.
Okay,
let's get
go.
Marc-Louis Bastien in here, and then we'll wrap up with the Ferrari boys too.
Let's go.
Yeah. Luke, Mr. Alpine.
Hey.
A lot of ups and downs today in the race, man, but you finished off strong. You got the P2. How was the race for you tonight?
The race was great. These are funny enough, this is one of the 3 tracks that I enjoy and I felt motivated to practice for. So I guess it shows. Practice does show,
Show today.
Yeah.
Luke, you had incredible pace, and you held the lead for so long also for the main race until you had a little bit of a moment, a little bit of that spin. Walk us through how it felt, and did you feel you still had a chance to win once the safety car came in?
I just wanted to finish, to tell you the truth. Knowing my track record from before, I've been getting a bit too greedy when I'm in good positions and I don't maintain So this race was a focus on being consistent and maintaining. So I was expecting nothing and hoping for the best.
Yeah, it was. You're going to be rejoining us next season as team principal for Mercedes. So
Yep.
congratulations on that. I gotta say, man, I think you've done an incredible job with Alpine this season. Picked them up from Siggy, and a valiant effort for I think, what are you guys at, P5
Yeah.
in constructors? Yeah, really nice job. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, had to give the Alpine boys one little bit a little bit of a taste of the champagne before the season ended. You know.
Gotta do it right before you're
Yeah.
off, of course.
Yeah.
All right, Luke,
Okay.
congratulations on the podium, man. Take care.
Thank you so much. Take
All
care,
right.
guys.
All right, our P3 driver, and I believe it's a second podium. We'll confirm with him. Marc-Olivier Bastin is coming in right now.
Marc-Olivier, how are
Hey,
you,
it's
man?
my turn.
Congrats. Yes, it's your turn. We pulled you in,
Yeah.
man. Congrats on the P3. Mega drive
Thank
today,
you.
dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I qualified P13, I think. So I don't know how I'll get a podium today, but I'll take it.
Yeah, how do you feel about this track? Is this one that you feel you're strong in? Your race pace was incredible. You were able to kind of pick your way throughout the order consistently, stay within DRS range of everyone in front of you, hold the guys back. What are your thoughts on Coda?
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, I don't know what happened in quali, but race pace was pretty good, so I'm happy.
Race pace was pretty good. How did you play out that strategy with the safety car in the end, and how hectic was it? Because we had a wild two-lap race at the very end. How did you make it through all the traffic and the incidents happening in front of you?
I think the safety car was too late to go for soft. And then on a restart, I just used all my ERS to stay away from, I think it was Duncan behind me. And, two lap is pretty short. So I think Dago was right behind Duncan, and I couldn't get Luke. I was not quick enough, but P3 is good for me.
You've had, I think you came on board 4 or 5 races ago, and you've had an incredible pace throughout the whole time. We've loved having you in ZRL. Are you planning on racing with us season 6?
Of course.
Yeah, love to hear it. Yeah, love to hear it. Yeah, man, dude, it's been great seeing you guys. Selfishly, I love seeing all the points for Alfa Romeo too. I love seeing you guys up there in the top 3. Have you been able to work with Chase too? Have you guys been in team chat? Or you're doing your own thing and running your own race?
We didn't, but we speak before the race about setup a little. But no, we were on our own tonight.
Well, congrats on finish up the season strong for you and for us. We'll see you next season, man.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. See you.
So,
Alright,
John,
we could bring the Ferrari boys. I just noticed Jeffrey Lawler is also in the waiting room.
I
We
was
gotta
just gonna
chat with
ask
him.
you, who you wanted to do first.
Well, let's not end it on a low note because unfortunately Jeffrey didn't have the race he wanted. So let's bring him now, and
Yeah.
then we'll talk to the Ferrari boys as well.
Do it. Jeffrey, how's it going, man, dude? A lot of tough luck today. What a valiant effort, though, to contend for this championship, dude. What was going through your head this entire? It had to have been a roller coaster for you today.
Oh yeah, no, it's been it was crazy. I mean, quali 4/10 up. I was like, this is the lap. Peter boxes, and then all of a sudden he's not in the boxes in front of me. So
Yeah.
had to dodge that. And then I've never been in a situation that I didn't know you could just sit still, you'd be okay. And I let my car roll a little bit in the wrong direction. And the stewards didn't like that. So, start from the back, not the first time this season. But everything was good. I mean, I had great pace, got through the field. It was just the same, not to mention 2 drivers decided I wasn't in their mirrors. So got taken out a few times. But I mean, I was battling a lot of people. I was in positions I shouldn't have been in, and ended up somehow P4 on track. So
Jeffrey, the end of the season was a rather hectic one where within the last 3 races you had been winning a lot. You won the 2 of them, and then Hudson Poole wasn't winning as much, and suddenly we're talking about a championship battle when we thought it was already over, practically over. what was your preparation this weekend? How did you feel coming into this race? Were you really focused on Hudson, or were you just trying to do all your own thing and wish for the best?
I just go into the same. If I can get a little time, and I got some time in today, believe it or not. That probably hurt me. But no, I don't ever focus on like one person or one thing. I mean, I obviously am aware that it's close, but I mean, at the end of the day, he has to do his job and I have to do mine. So, I think he won, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So he had a really good recovery from the sprint race. So I mean,
Yeah.
good for him. He's did a better job than everyone else this season. So just have to do better next one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that too, right? So we're kind of turning all the excitement from the end of the season builds up to season 6. So you plan to stick with us for season 6?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I left every other organization, for this place because
Really?
I enjoy it the most.
That's really cool to hear, actually. Well, we love watching you watching you drive every week. I mean, I think it's every week. John and I are kind of amazed at the battles that you guys have up front. You guys have incredible pace. It's really cool to watch you, and I look forward to season 6, man.
I do too. Thank you guys for commentating. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. The Ferrari boys to close it out. We can bring in Cody Lawrence and Peter Giordano.
Cody, Peter, how are you guys doing? You guys were so close. We thought you had it in the bag at one point. Cody, I think I'll ask the most obvious question in the pits, man. Was that a Cody's thing or what?
Yeah, I got the Ferrari strategy.
Yeah, Matteo Binotto whispering in your ear that he wanted medium tires. Is that it?
Yeah, gave me more worn medium than what I was on to begin with. So, but I could talk your ear off, so I think you should probably give Peter first dibs at it.
Yeah, Peter. Looking at constructors both combined and D1, and probably coming off of a season where like season 4, you all probably could have scored more points and done better than you did. But I feel like the Ferrari guys, you held it together as a team so much better this year. I think all from D1, 2, 3, and 4, you guys had incredible drives all throughout the entire season. You're coming up just short, but what were your thoughts? I think you guys had an incredible season. I think P2 is well deserved.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's I'm not gonna say better than I expected. I was hoping for P2, but up until maybe 2 races ago, we were fighting for the championship, which I don't think anyone expected. So to have picks 5 and 7 that go P2 such a far way ahead of third, I think was really good. I'm happy with all my drivers really, and I think it was a great season overall. I was just looking forward to next season. Hopefully, we can bring more of a fight to Red Bull.
Peter, you had a decent pace in USA. Talk to us through how you felt your race went and how the safety car played out in regards to strategies. We've noticed a couple incidents, a couple bumps. Do you think you may be losing a couple positions because of that?
I doubt I'll lose positions on penalties. There's not any bumps that I can remember that I think were my fault. Qualifying just I don't know. It wasn't a good day for me. Qualifying went bad. I invalidated my last 2 laps. The sprint went well, made up a ton of positions, and then in the race, I don't know. I had no front end, no confidence under braking or on the power. So it was just really weird, and my pace was lacking, and I think it kind of showed because I dropped a couple positions, especially on the hards.
Peter, kind of going into next season, what are kind of your expectations as a team principal? Do you think that season 6 can be the year where Red Bull is finally dethroned? What would need to happen in order for that to have a chance?
Yeah, I think we can definitely win it. Um, obviously Red Bull has a little bit of an advantage because they get picks 111 compared to 212. So I mean, but it's close enough, and I think I can make the better picks than Duncan is. I think the only the biggest deciding factor I think is going to be D1 because it's likely that I'm going to have to pick myself um, first. So that might put us at a little bit of a disadvantage because I don't know if I'm the second best driver on the grid. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm confident in my ability to scout people. So I think we can finally dethrone Red Bull.
So speaking of next season, Cody, you came in at the second half of this year, when Ian had to move to reserve, and I think it's safe to say, you had such a significant impact. You dominated for a lot of it. I know I enjoyed the practice sessions with you, just kind of listening to your take on setups and everything, and I think it's been great for ZRL to have you participate in D1 in our top tier and interact with our drivers. Are you planning on driving with us in season 6? Is it still undecided? I mean, have you thought about it yet?
Like about 95% decided not going to drive next season. I don't know, man. It's just for me, my personal matters and just kind of how am I going to get the 100% out of myself? I'm not sure if I'm really going to be able to do that moving forward. I don't know. I'm still kind of spiraling the thoughts in my head. I mean, we talk about the future, but man, I wanted to win the constructors tonight. That was my goal going in, but it hurts. It hurts, man. I wish I could give you a better answer on the long term question, but I'm still thinking, damn it, I wanted to win constructors tonight.
From a driver who's had a similar Cody situation, uh, than yours, Cody. I was fighting for Division 2 championship in the very last race of the season, and Cody had a frame glitch which put me in a wall and ended my championship right there, and I lost it by I think less than 10 points. So given the situation, we're talking about the future here, but is this something you still want to reflect over a little bit? We know we're on the downside with having lost the constructors. However, you've been gaining enormous a lot of points and picking up on Ian Krieger's replacement, which is not simple shoes to fill. Ian Krieger is a very fast driver as well. So, is there a potential possibility you might be driving next season? Or if you take time to reflect upon it, or has this been your last race and we'll see you potentially just as a reserve?
That's it's still to be decided. That's why I say 95 because the 5% still kicking and clawing and scratching and not giving up just yet. But yeah, it's for me. It's just can I give 100% for another season? Right now, no. Maybe 2 weeks from now, maybe. I don't. I just don't know. It's like if I do something, I want to commit to it 100%. And right now, that fire and that willingness to not give up is just it's missing. I'll be honest, missing.
Yeah, well, the sting from this will probably last for a while, but I think the community has certainly benefited from you being a part of it. Hopefully, it's not for a short time, but we understand you got to do what you got to do. But Peter, just to you again, man, I think you've led an incredible team. We've had an incredible season. It's been cool, kind of being part of this alliance and watching all the inner workings, and I think everyone who's been associated with you guys has become better drivers because of it. It's been a great year, man. I appreciate you both.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. Pleasure working with you. Sure, next season we can maybe have some joint practices, even though alliances are gonna go bye bye. But
For sure.
yeah,
You're leaking all the top secrets, sir.
all
No,
that Ferrari tech, yeah.
No, it's all right if I say something just for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I want to give a thanks to Carl and Labib for tonight engineering. It wasn't easy. I wasn't too happy, but I got the medium, so they had to put up with some stuff. I appreciate them. Appreciate Labib for races has been here. Appreciate Carl for giving us good info tonight.
yeah.
Just wish it could have been a little bit more. Thank you to Peter.
Engineer of the Year.
Yeah, thank you to Peter as well. He's you're a good man.
Thank you. I do my best for you.
Respect driving for you. So if I come back, I want to be with you, brother. I respect you.
That's cute. Thank you.
So.
A lot of respect between the drivers and their engineers. We also had the Red Bull guys talking about their 3 engineers. They brought them together. Just proves that Division One drivers need to rely on those engineer guys as well, given the fact that they gotta think and look at every kind of different situations, and it's been tied all the way through the season. Guys, thank you for giving us such fantastic racing throughout the entire season, and we cannot wait to see you in the booth once again next season.
Yeah,
And
thank you
thank you
guys.
for doing this as well. Appreciate it, genuinely.
Yeah, I actually, is it okay if I just say something before we sign
Go,
off?
go.
Yeah,
It's
go
my
ahead,
season
man. It's
finale.
last race. What do you got? What do you got?
Just just like to give a little public thank you to all the guys at Ferrari. I'm gonna make a little more heartfelt message in the Ferrari channel, but super happy to have all of you. I think as a community, like as people, it's been amazing as well, not just as drivers. Been really cool to hang out with you guys, share laughs, whatever. Thanks for giving me lots of points and lots of joy. So yeah, thank you guys, and thank you broadcasters for doing this for us every week. I know it's not paid except for the occasional donation, but it really means a lot. So thank you guys.
It's fun. I think it's a treat. I mean, I don't know about you, John. I look forward to doing this every weekend, man. And it just is. It's fun to be in the booth and kind of watch the best of the best. Try to hopefully learn so I can maybe make it out of D4 selfishly. But it's cool. It's just been a great experience, and I think this just speaks to the community that we've created here. So, as we kind of sign off for season 5, we're open to everybody listening. We're a great community for casual racers, reserve racers, and guys that want full-time seats. We'll have a draft in 2-3 weeks' time where all the teams get shuffled up again, and we do it again. We do it again, and before we know it, season 6 will be upon us, and we'll be back in the booth once again, John.
Yep.
Calling D1. All right, so with that, Peter, Cody, we'll let you guys go, and we'll go ahead and sign off. So thank you everybody for staying with us for the night and watching the sprint race and everything unfold, and of course, our champions being crowned. We'll see you guys soon for season 6. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night.